And we continue at 2:05 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wings in Culver City.
Johnny, I forgot to announce a major development in my life. I finally voted.
Oh, you did?
This morning.
Well, you have today and you have tomorrow. And then if you don't get it in by tomorrow at 8 o'clock, then you can't vote.
And it looks like half of Californians will be in that camp.
Pretty much. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, we have a couple of updates on crime stories that we brought you before, including one out of Oakland that, as it turns out, Randy, well, it's been going on for quite some time.
We told you about that major bust by the FBI where you had 8 or 9 gang members with ties to the Mexican cartels that had committed several murders in the town for years and years and years. It turns out this is all part of an investigation that OPD has been working on for 9 years.
An investigation can go on for 9 years with no arrest made?
Well, it is Oakland.
It's wild, wild west out here.
How much time do you need?
How many bodies do you need?
And the feds just came in and did it lickety-split.
Let's find out what was going on here. Here is a report from ABC 7 in the Bay.
Our officers have worked tirelessly to identify and arrest members of...
Tirelessly? You worked for almost a decade.
That's almost long enough to retire.
Well, and with all the turnover in that department, how many lead detectives have this case had?
Good question.
Members of 2 Serrano gangs believed to be responsible for 34 homicides across the Bay Area, including 24 here in Oakland.
OPD Assistant Chief James Beer says the group was highly active.
So you let a gang and gang violence get to the point where there are 24 bodies before anybody goes to prison?
Okay, here's a prediction, and this is just my opinion, and that's it. We know that there is political pressure in Oakland not to deport anyone, correct?
Why, yes.
Okay, if they're investigating this gang and they know that they're virtually all here illegally, and they were to go in and arrest them for really bad things, they would end up being deported because they would go to state prison and we would be aware that they were here illegally. That would come out in court. I think they just allowed this investigation to go on forever so they didn't have to deport anyone.
I would say that sounds crazy, but we've seen how difficult it is to deport the Honduran fentanyl dealers in San Francisco.
OPD Assistant Chief James Beer says the group was highly active, engaged in robberies, drug and firearms trafficking, and shootings. On Wednesday morning.
And we didn't know where these people were or who they were for 9 years?
Oh, no, we knew. We just chose not to move forward with an arrest and charges.
On Wednesday morning, OPD and the FBI served 10 search warrants, 8 in Oakland, 1 each in Modesto and Stockton. OPD says 8 of the 12 suspects tied to the charges were arrested in that operation. 2 were already in custody, while they're still looking for 2 others.
We are grateful for the U.S. Attorney's Office, which has federally charged 9 of the suspects.
Which means the wishy-washy California laws won't apply to them.
Nope.
3 additional suspects are facing state charges.
Referring to Wednesday's arrest, the FBI acting special agent in charge saying in a statement, while we continue to focus on disrupting the violent and illicit operations of local street gangs, today's arrest marks significant progress in that ongoing fight. Assistant Chief Beer says the gangs were well organized.
And by the way, if you're wondering why the assistant chief is doing this press conference, it's because the current chief quit.
How is this acceptable that they were allowed to continue their illegal activity and allegedly kill a bunch of people where they were under some form of surveillance because the cops knew they were gang members, yet nothing happened? At no point in time did they blow the whistle.
I understand making sure you want to dot all your I's and cross all your T's and make sure you have an airtight investigation. 9 years of people that kept murdering each other and victimizing the community seems like a little much.
Yeah, that means you don't want to make an arrest.
Assistant Chief Beer says the gangs were well organized with ties to other countries. The FBI says the Sureño gang is generally recognized as the primary Mexican mafia prison gang, and that many of those arrested are in the U.S. illegally.
You don't say.
That's it. I'm telling you, there is political pressure in that town not to deport anyone. And if they were to move forward with this and deport a bunch of people, that's something that your girl Shang didn't want to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
OPD also says the violence...
Although, if this is 9 years, this is not just Lee, this is not just Shang, this is not just Schaff. It goes even before that.
And then you had who as the district attorney in Alameda at that time.
She called me a crime boss.
Bingo.
OPD also says the violence was not just against rival gangs, but also linked to violence within the gang.
The shootings were brazen, sometimes.
Wait a second. Were any of the murders innocent victims, or it was just all of them killing each other? Because maybe that's the strategy. Let's let this play out, because instead of arresting them, they'll all just kill each other.
Maybe I should rethink my position. If they're killing each other right and left, then maybe the public does benefit.
Well, we've all heard of stray bullet stories. I don't know if that's the case, but maybe that was the idea. If we arrest them and we prosecute them, they'll be in prison, they'll be out of prison. But if we left them out there, eventually this gang war will kill all of them.
That's true.
OPD also says the violence was not just against rival gangs, but also linked to violence within the gang.
The shootings were brazen, sometimes during broad daylight, at crowded parties at night, in parks, on streets, and in homes. We've even had violence associated with these groups that have occurred within churches.
In a statement to ABC 7 News, Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee commends the work of OPD and the FBI, saying,
I'm sure she does.
They're shooting each other in churches?
Apparently.
It demonstrates our commitment to pursue justice relentlessly and work with every resource and partner necessary to hold those responsible to account. OPD saying it's been investigating the case since 2016.
It's totally ridiculous.
That's when the first body hit the floor. And they have continued to investigate this gang for 9 years. And in that time, 24 bodies in just Oakland accumulated.
Well, that's just what we know about.
And warning, more arrests are coming.
We're likely going to track you down and arrest you. We've not finished. This case is not done.
In about 20 years, we'll be done with this thing.
When you're retired, we're going to arrest you. When you're sitting at home and you're lazy boy watching reruns of Judge Judy.
State charges are also being filed in connection to the current arrests, which involves the Alameda County District Attorney's Office.
So there you go. The latest on that big gang bust in Oakland. The investigation been going on for 9 years.
All right, let's move out of Oakland and into Fresno, because there was another bonkers gang-related story that we brought you some time ago.
Different kind of gang. We're not talking about a Mexican mafia gang here. No, we're talking about a good old-fashioned classic Central Valley biker gang. And this involves the restaurateur in Fresno, Robert Bobby Salazar, someone who allegedly paid a biker gang to torch one of his restaurants for the insurance money.
I love the fact that the people in the Palisades who are completely innocent victims are just trying to get what's in the contract. They get nothing. But if you're doing something fraudulent, they just make it rain.
For more, here's a report from ABC 30 in the Central Valley.
In an Action News update, businessman Bobby Salazar and 2 others have been indicted on felony charges in the arson of one of his namesake restaurants. Salazar is accused of hiring a motorcycle gang member to set his restaurant on fire.
I wonder how that negotiation went.
How could they even hear each other with all the engines?
A grand jury ruled on the case last week, revealing the names of those authorities say are involved. One of those suspects appeared in court today. Thanks for joining us for Action News Live at 6:30. Good evening. I'm Dale Uron.
And I'm Margot Kim. We're live on ABC 30, Hulu Live, and wherever you stream. Action News reporter Tiffany Olin explains what we now know about the 2 additional people now indicted.
So there was more than one match?
It sounds like it.
Salazar was scheduled to be in court today, but after going through court documents, we found he was indicted last week, along with 2 additional co-defendants. Before this indictment, the names of those allegedly involved in this crime were not known. Now we know a bit more about what authorities say happened.
This is one of the men accused of setting a Bobby Salazar's restaurant on fire last year. Thomas Qualls pleaded not guilty in court Wednesday to a felony arson charge related to the incident. Last week, a federal grand jury indicted Qualls, Shiloh Badiali, and Valley businessman Bobby Salazar.
What was that middle guy's name?
Last week, a federal grand jury indicted Qualls, Shiloh Badiali.
Shiloh Badiali?
Good on the reporter for being able to pronounce that, because I don't think I'd be able to.
Shiloh Badiali and Valley businessman Bobby Salazar on several felony counts related to the fire. Legal analyst Tony Capozzi says the case still has a lot to unpack.
This case will carry out for quite a while, or go on for quite a while. There'll be a lot of discovery, a lot of expertise in determining whether or not it was arson.
Well, I mean, they seem to have reasonable evidence that this biker gang didn't torch the restaurant just because. It's not like they had a bad steak.
And this has been going on since the beginning of time, where people, when they're looking for a remodel, they're looking to take a payout and get out, they find ways to have suspicious fires, and then boom, your insurance company writes you a check and you're off to the races.
The indictment states Salazar paid Qualls and Badiali $10,000 last year to torch one of his namesake restaurants on Blackstone in Central Fresno.
Is that a flat rate, or do you have to pay hourly too?
I love the fact that all of these people are willing to go to prison for decades over peanuts.
I guess they thought they weren't going to get caught.
I used to do this with Ann Coulter on occasion, where we would email each other. We both like the Lifetime movies. And what we try to find is we try to find someone who is the subject of one of those Lifetime movies, who is willing to kill their spouse for the lowest possible insurance payout. Because people are willing to kill their spouse for $25,000.
I guess I don't know what the other sources of income are there for the biker gangs. Maybe the P2P meth game isn't really panning out as it used to be. So they needed a 10 large to torch a business.
$10,000 for that?
Mentioning them in this indictment may be a means to get them to cooperate and testify against the main defendant in this particular case, but that remains to be seen.
I don't know if the bikers have any loyalty to Bobby.
You know, I went back, and it was actually with Ann, and I was looking at the bribery scandal or the cheating scandal in the NBA, where they were running the card games that were allegedly rigged, and they were trading inside information to gamblers. If you were to take that amount of money, the alleged amount of money that they made by doing that, and you were to divide it up among all of the people who participated in this ring, you're talking, again, about peanuts for each of them. You're talking about rich people who are risking everything they have to make some change. And they did it.
But that remains to be seen.
Salazar received over $900,000 in insurance money following that fire.
That's it?
Well, it's a lot more than the $10,000 that the biker gang made.
But he didn't even put forth a policy that could net him a cool $1 million?
It's stupid all the way around.
Maybe he thought $1 million policy would be suspicious. If it's a $999,000 policy, they'll never, ever pick up on this.
I don't even think that'll get you a house in Van Nuys, will it?
It won't.
Salazar received over $900,000 in insurance money following that fire. Last month, we caught up with him ahead of his status hearing.
Bobby, do you have anything to say about the accusations?
I'm innocent.
Salazar remains.
Sure he is. He just took out that policy because.
I don't know, I'm innocent.
I'm innocent.
Oh.
Never talk to the press.
What do you think, Bobby?
If you've been accused of a crime, just stay quiet. Let your attorney do the talking.
Oh. Bobby, did you burn down your restaurant? Bobby, do you have any affiliation with the biker gang?
Seems convincing.
I'm innocent.
Salazar remains out on bond while he awaits his next court date. The indictment says Badiali has not been arrested, but Qualls is in custody. Salazar faces felony arson-related charges and mail fraud.
Oh, because the insurance check goes in the mail.
Yes, and that means the feds get to go after you, not the locals.
Once again, a crime that won't be subject to wishy-washy California laws.
Salazar faces felony arson-related charges and mail fraud.
The government is saying because of the arson, the insurance company had to mail a check back to Bobby Salazar. Using that mail is a federal offense to commit a crime.
The co-defendants are facing felony arson charges. If convicted, the trio's sentences range from 5 to more than 20 years behind bars. I did reach out to the U.S. Attorney's Office for comment, but it is not doing interviews during the government shutdown. Salazar is set to be arraigned next month, while Qualls will be in court in the new year. In downtown Fresno, Tiffany Olin, ABC 30 Action News.
There's the latest on Bobby Salazar, the Fresno restaurateur that allegedly paid a biker gang $10,000 to torch his restaurant for $900,000 of insurance money.
And then the bikers are looking at potentially 20 years in prison for a $10,000 payout.
They're flipping on Bobby.
100%. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, now that we're about a half hour away from the end of the show, if you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
You still want more of this? Well, I guess that's why they pay us for it. Search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You can download all the episodes. You can do a Google on the YouTube. Get the free KABC app. Get the free KSFO app. You can listen to all of our coverage of things that are going on in Southern California and Los Angeles and Orange County. All of our coverage of things going on in the Central Valley and Fresno. And, of course, all of our coverage of things going on in the Bay Area, including San Francisco and that city right next to San Francisco. What's the name of it again?
You know, this has really been an issue for the city of Dumpy. Excuse me.
Let's go to Mark in San Jose. Mark, hello.
Good afternoon, sir. And I would have to say that after listening to your interview with Assemblymember Chavez, you are the better man. If I had been on the receiving end of that load of hooey, you would have broken your dump button many, many times. That guy, where do you start? Trump started this? Really? And Mr. Newsom, when he oversaw the redistricting that got 40% of the Republican voters limited to 17% of the vote, that wasn't a start. When New York did it, as you've mentioned before, that guy, the only way to describe that guy is he's a political prostitute. I mean, he is worse than Joseph Goebbels. That guy was just the arrogance, just disrespect for even saying those things to you. You're the better man. That's all I have to say, man. You're the better man.
All right. Well, that's the first time I've heard that, but thank you for the call. I appreciate it. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Well, one of the topics that we spent a lot of time on is the fact that Las Vegas is seeing a decline in tourism, in part because it's so expensive to go there. It's not something that's unique to Las Vegas. We've certainly seen that happen in Hawaii, and they're seeing it in Palm Springs as well, among other vacation destinations. Well, it's not just us who's talking about it. Apparently, the tourism industry in Las Vegas, well, they're starting to get the idea.
including the CEO of MGM, who admitted on a call, yeah, maybe $12 Starbucks wasn't a great idea.
You think?
For more, here is News 3 Vegas.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for News 3 Live at 6. I'm Steve Wolford. Dana and LaToya are off. The CEO of MGM Resorts now admits high prices were a mistake through the summer and contributed to a negative perception of Las Vegas. Bill Hornbuckle talked about pricing this week during a quarterly earnings call and says the company should have been more aware of the impact on its budget-conscious properties like Excalibur and Luxor.
Boy, that's a charitable way of describing them.
All right. I didn't realize Excalibur was gouging people as well. How much exactly were they charging for tickets for Thunder from Down Under?
They all are.
So what happens next?
News like that counts as a strip hotel? Yikes.
Hey, they're a lot more valuable than they used to be because they're right there next to the football stadium, the hockey arena, and allegedly, if that baseball stadium's ever completed, it's going to be right there too.
Yeah, but isn't the carpet in there from like 1973?
No, the building's from 73. The carpet's there from 1971.
So what happens next? News 3's Jane Davenport is joining us live. And Jane, you had a chance to talk with some tourists today, including some who are staying on the Strip right now.
Yeah, Steve, I spoke with...
I would love to see what happens when you stick a microphone in front of a Vegas tourist and say, hey, how badly have you been ripped off this week?
Especially at the Luxor.
Yeah, Steve, I spoke with people who are visiting Las Vegas for the first time, people who have been here many times, as well as people from across the country and even across the world. Most people came to the same consensus that they're tired and frustrated of having to pay a lot of money for everyday items.
But they're still coming because that Gambling Jones is strong.
Okay, why am I picturing every man on the street interview inside the Excalibur is going to involve a woman who is currently smoking while being interviewed, and the cloud of smoke is so thick you can barely see portions of her head. And I'm also picturing visible tattoos on her cleavage.
How about an oxygen tank?
That's the mother.
Everything is more expensive. We had bought some water and Gatorade, just one each last night. It was almost $25.
What?
How hungover do you think she was to pay $25 for water and Gatorade?
Are we sure it wasn't Pedialyte? A bottle of water and a Gatorade for $25?
What do you think her drink is? Is it White Claw or Fireball?
Both.
Everything is more expensive. We had bought some water and Gatorade, just one each last night. It was almost $25.
Stacy Sosa is from San Antonio, Texas. She's visited Las Vegas many times and says that while it's always been expensive, this time around is hitting her wallet a little bit harder.
It's ridiculous. Inflation's just gone crazy.
That's not inflation.
I wonder how hard the Excalibur clientele has been hit by the SNAP benefits being turned off.
MGM Resorts CEO Bill Hornbuckle admitting earlier this week to the company's role in viral high prices. On a call with analysts, he said, "When we think about pricing and things that got everyone's attention, whether it was the infamous bottle of water or a Starbucks coffee at Excalibur that cost $12, shame on us."
But that's the way it is everywhere there. And it's not just those items. Try going to one of those restaurants with a celebrity chef. Just parking there. Parking is insane. The resort fees if you get a room, which aren't optional, even if you don't use the beauty parlor, even if you don't use the swimming pool, you still have to pay it. And those cost a fortune.
There is nickel and diming everywhere. And eventually, your target demo says, screw this, I will go somewhere else.
If you get away with it, probably until you get caught.
Yeah, so suddenly he got caught, and now all of a sudden it's a big deal. So he needs to fix it.
Michael Davenport.
What do you think we're going to see? Congratulations, we've got a coupon. Now you can get $11 Starbucks.
And let's face it, one of the excuses they use for these high prices is inflation. And to a certain extent, that's true. If the cost of beef is more than it was last year, you're going to charge more for your steaks. I get that. But $12 for a coffee, that's not even close to where it is with inflation. And go back and look at what these hotels did during COVID. Remember when they said we're only going to clean your room every other day due to COVID? And that was a whole COVID thing. And then COVID went away, and now they only clean your room every other day. What it was a budget cut that they rebranded as them giving a damn about your health.
Michael Davenport and his friends are visiting from Nebraska. I asked what items they believe are priced too high.
I paid $15 to $17 for a 16-ounce can of beer.
Well, just wait till he needs that intimacy kit later on.
I paid $15 to $17 for a 16-ounce can of beer. Budweiser. We buy a whole case for that, but I paid for it.
Yeah. Why did you pay for it?
Because I had to. You're here.
You want to have a good time?
Yeah, you want to have a good time.
No pre-gaming in the parking lot?
The craftiest among us know ways to get around these things. I mean, heck, bring the beer from Nebraska.
Have you ever pre-gamed in the parking lot of a Las Vegas hotel?
I haven't done it at a hotel, but I've done it plenty of times at Dodger Stadium. I'm not paying $17 for a beer. And if you want to make it a michelada, it's another $5.
He added that parking and resort fees have also added to the financial stress of a Las Vegas vacation.
We can afford it to a point, but it just...
I don't know how people afford this.
Jane and Jerry Langley are here visiting from Arkansas.
It's expensive.
Aren't there casinos you can go to that are closer?
Okay, this is the reporter looking for a man on the street who was going to give them gold. You think these are the Hatfields or the McCoys?
We can afford it to a point, but it just...
I don't know how people afford this.
Jane and Jerry Langley are here visiting from Arkansas.
It's expensive. So, the food is just outrageous.
It's about $60 for two to eat every meal.
Well, just wait till he finds out what they're going to charge him when they find out instead of flipping the light switch to turn the lights out to go to bed, he just shoots them out with his gun.
It's about $60 for two to eat every meal.
Every meal.
Well, and there's 3 a day.
The one word they use to describe their experience? Pricey. Like many others, they say they're frustrated and a little bit shocked at just how expensive the city has become. I asked what advice they had for people looking to travel here.
I would shop.
You knew they were going to keep these people on mic as long as they could.
Oh, of course. Now let's hear some financial advice from these two.
I would shop around and find a more economical hotel and where to go eat economical.
Guess he's going to downtown.
What is more economical than the Excalibur? A homeless encampment?
I mean, of the strip hotels, that definitely seems like the current most low end because all the other ones got destroyed.
You know, in the old America West days, that airline used to have a lot of overnight flights that connected in Las Vegas. And if you were in that terminal, you'd see people sleeping on the floor in the airport. I think that may be the only thing cheaper than the Excalibur.
I would shop around and find a more economical hotel and where to go eat economical.
Fremont Street for you. They've got a White Castle.
Well, there goes Dave Ramsey's job security.
But Hornbuckle has said those types of places have changed as well. On the call, he said, we should have been more sensitive to the overall experience at a place like Excalibur to those customers.
Okay, do these poor people understand that when they picked them to put them on the news as the man on the street, They did it for a reason.
You can't have a $29 room and a $12 coffee.
Pricey, very pricey.
I don't find it overly expensive. We're just enjoying our time here.
I don't even want to guess what accent that was.
That had to be Irish.
I don't find it overly expensive. We're just enjoying our time here.
I think you're right.
I think so.
Now, that last woman I spoke with is from Ireland.
You called it. Look at you.
I told you.
Now, that last woman I spoke with is from Ireland. I also met with people from the UK, even Australia. They all shared the same opinion. They're not too shocked by the prices here in Las.
Why don't you go to Monte Carlo? It's closer.
It's not called Monte Carlo anymore. It's Park MGM.
I meant the actual Monte Carlo.
Oh, I see.
No, if you're from Paris and you go to Paris, Las Vegas, I got to imagine it's a letdown.
Yeah.
Here in Las Vegas, and they're okay with paying that. But as for people who live here in the United States coming to visit Las Vegas, they shared an opposite opinion, saying it's too much. Steve.
Well, it's also like we were talking earlier, Jane. I talked with a guy who had spent some time in L.A. and San Francisco before he came to Las Vegas. He got here and thought everything was cheap.
Well, that's our problem.
But the whole point was Vegas was not supposed to be that. Vegas was supposed to be discount luxury where you lose all your money at the craps table.
Yeah, and now they get you coming and going.
So with that said...
Say, wait, are you saying that to the average patron that goes to Las Vegas because of all these fees and because of the gambling that they're getting Garcetti'd?
I receive things on both ends.
Pretty much.
So with that said, what's Hornbuckle doing right now at this point to address the pricing issues?
Right, Steve, everything in perspective. And Hornbuckle has said that MGM Resorts has price corrected. Now, he's also cited some other...
So the Gatorade's only $17?
You know what would be fantastic? If some local channel in San Francisco were to send that couple from Arkansas up to Oakland for a vacation to do a price comparison. And then let's get reaction from the last surviving Confederate widow after her rental car gets shot up.
Now, he's also cited some other issues, such as a decline in Canadian visitors, as well as Spirit Airlines cancellations for reasons on why Las Vegas...
Oh, boy. Can you imagine the clientele that's missing out on Vegas when Spirit lowered the amount of flights that they were putting into Vegas?
Oh, I'd say the Excalibur is half empty.
For reasons on why Las Vegas has seen a summer tourism slump. Steve?
Light bulb. Thank you, Jane.
You know, he used to have a residency at the Excalibur. It was Louis Anderson.
Did he?
Light
I think
bulb.
Carrot Top is at the Luxor.
Light bulb. Thank you, Jane. Appreciate it. Prices on the Strip have been a concern for months. It's something I talked about with visitors in my Las Vegas reality check reporting on the summer tourism slump. Many told me...
You know, I think at this point, the local channels in Vegas, all they do is man on the street about all the tourists saying it's so freaking expensive here.
Well, it is. You're going to get the same reaction from everyone you talk to.
I don't think you're going to find one person that's like, nah, this is a great deal. And you know what? I'm going to stand up for Los Angeles and San Francisco right now. The Starbucks aren't $12 there.
No, that is true. We are cheaper for coffee than Las Vegas. However, that is a Strip thing because you go a couple of blocks off the Strip and it's essentially Victorville.
They got the same gambling, and some have said, maybe you can confirm this, that those off-strip casinos have better odds.
Well, and you can gamble anywhere. You can gamble in the car wash over there. You go to an Albertsons, they got Huff and Puff as far as the eye can see. And Huff and even more Puff and Huff and Puff mansions and all of them.
Hell, you just have a layover at McCarran. You go into that smoking room in the middle of the airport and play Wheel of Fortune slots until your next flight.
Imagine if you miss your flight because you're waiting for a hand pay. An American says, "Why'd you miss your flight, sir? You checked in on time." "Oh, I was waiting for a hand pay over at Huff and Even More Puff."
How many hand pays are getting given out at the Vegas airport?
Oh, I'm sure a million. With all the delayed flights, people just sit there and gamble and drink. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And a very big congratulations right now to the Los Angeles Dodgers for winning the World Series.
How about that? Extra innings in a Game 7.
Now, Randy, be honest with me. After the Dodgers lost at home and they were going to Toronto, and Toronto had to win 1 out of 2 games at home, did you think the Dodgers were actually going to win?
I thought there was a chance.
After the long game, the extra inning game that went on forever, I thought that the Dodgers were going to win the World Series. And then they ended up losing 2 in a row and headed to Toronto. And I thought, okay, there was a change in the tide here, and it looks like it's Toronto's. And boy, was I wrong.
Well, they had some time to rest after that never-ending game.
It was a good day for Dodger fans, a bad day for Waymos. But that's the way it always is. Now, Los Angeles gets another parade. Well, and the last time we had one of these parades, it was huge.
Well, and this is the issue as somebody that lives in Los Angeles is we have some very, very, very successful sports teams. The Lakers, the Dodgers, what have you, even at one point the Kings. Whenever these teams win a championship, you're like, yeah, that's great, but also how many Waymos are going to get set on fire tonight?
And how many roads are going to be shut down? How many freeways are going to be shut down? It's like when the president comes to town.
In fact, it happens more often that we've got these sports championships than that happens. But there's an aspect of it that is a giant headache. And also politicians now all taking selfies with Shohei. That's a pain in the ass too.
You know, as an Angel fan, when Shohei's contract was coming up, the Angels made the decision not to go as high as the Dodgers because when you have a player who pitches and bats, it's highly likely that at some point they're going to experience an injury. And if you have that much money invested in one player and they're injured for most of their career, as we've seen with some big-name stars, Bill Walton, the basketball legend, had a great career at UCLA, went into the NBA and spent most of his career on the bench because he was injured. And if you dump a ton of money into a player like that, then you end up losing for a very long time. And that was the decision that the Angels made. In retrospect, looking at the Dodgers now winning back-to-back, that was a huge mistake.
You poor little Angels.
At some point, we'll learn. Not anytime soon, but at some point, we'll learn.
Well, now you're getting to the point Trout's going to age out. What do you have?
That's it. You know, we had Tim Salmon. We have Mike Trout. Who are we going to put in the outfield next? Karen Bass? All right, that's going to do it for us today.